Okay. Hello YouTube. Today we're going to do a few cooking specials. Today I'm cooking a dish for my family, my wife, my son. I'm going to do a Japanese gyoza, homemade, as well as, excuse me, Asian white rice and an Asian inspired pork chop. Normally I do a steamed stir-fried vegetable to go along with it. Unfortunately I don't have the time to actually put that together before my son wakes up and causes hell. So first, I pretty much already prepared the gyoza. Now they're not very pretty. As you can see, the gyoza already made. Now, for the gyoza, I will give you the recipe, and if you'd like, I'd also put it in the listen box below. I created a filling for it using a pound of pork, ground pork. You can get it at a deli, you can get it at a Walmart, Food Line, wherever you are. There's got to be some place where you can get ground pork. But a pound of ground pork. Now personally, I like to add some tofu. Just small slices, bit by bit. If you'll take a look into the filling here, just kind of enough to give a few chunks here and there. Because tofu naturally has like this bean, earthy taste with a soft texture. It allows it just kind of to absorb all the meats, fats and juices as it cooks, as well as the sauces that you mix into it. Now you're going to take a cup of soy sauce. I use Kikkoman. You could use whichever soy sauce you choose to use. You can use whomever you can get. Now, most of the time the recipe calls for about a tablespoon of sesame seeds, toasted preferably, but I kind of deferred from that. You can also use about a tablespoon of toasted sesame seed oil. As you see here, use about a tablespoon of that into the mixture. Fresh ground ginger. Jesus, I can't remember. Give me a minute. I got my list right here. Fresh ground ginger. You want to put about a tablespoon of that in the mixture. You're going to do 3 cloves of finely chopped garlic. You want either Chinese onions, or you could use scallions or green onions, which is what I use. Dice them up finely. You want 1 egg for the mixture, as well as that soy sauce. Now you're going to take those and you can mix them all into a bowl, or you can put them all in different containers, but I like to mix them and have them marinate overnight. So I took and had this marinating overnight to let those flavors kind of absorb into the meat. Give it a nice thick flavor. You don't have to worry about some salts missing during the cooking process, a lot of flavors escaping due to maybe a crack in your pastries or whatever. Now, as far as the pastry usage, I like to make them, but you can also, if you'd like, pick up large or small empanada wraps. If you can't get empanada wraps, you can, not too many places around where I'm at right now have or provide the Chinese or dumpling wraps or the gyoza wraps. So I use the Goya empanada wraps. You can get them in different bundles. This is a 10 pack, there's 20 packs, stuff like that. This amount that you're making is the equivalent to about 50 gyozas. So by the time you're done stuffing these things, now to make these, you want to have a nice floured surface, whether it's clear like my counter was, or whether it's you have a prepping area. And you take and you place your pastry on the the wrap on that powdered surface. You then put at least a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more, depending upon you, on the pastry. You get a little bit of water, round it around the edges, fold it in. Now for the pleats, now everybody doesn't have to have pleats. It just kind of helps seal it, and it also helps a lot of the, it keeps a lot of the fat from escaping, but you don't have to have pleats. You can do it just like a normal empanada and just kind of crimp the edges to keep it from spilling out and sealing the wrap. Now, after that, you want to put about a quarter cup to a half a cup of vegetable oil, canola oil, peanut oil, whichever you'd rather cook with, into a skillet, preferably one that it comes with a top. And you set it on medium high or high. You let that each dumpling cook in there until each side is golden brown. You remove them. Then you add a cup of water to the mixture of the oil, allowing it to boil. You put them back in, you allow them to steam for a little while, cook for about 5 to 10 minutes. Other recipes call for 10 to 15, but at least until the pork is cooked completely. It's not very healthy to have uncooked pork being ingested. Too many parasites and things going on nowadays. So, after letting it cook, you'll come out with a nice gyoza like this one here is nice. The pleats are there. The pleats you don't really have to put there. Like I said before, I can show you how to put them in there though. So I'm going to take about a few seconds here to show you how I did the pleats. Now, I'm not sure how I may do them in Japan or China, but oh shit. I'm going to take a few seconds to show you how it's. Now after I had folded using the stuffing inside, I folded it over, putting water on all sides, folded over one side at a time. After they're all sealed, I hold both sides, folding it inward till you come up with almost a curve. Let's see if you can see that there. Pretty much curving it inward. And you press down until that's sealed. Now you do that all the way around. You can get 5 to 6 pleats per gyoza. Now, I made tonight at least 8. And you go to a Chinese restaurant to get a pot sticker, or a Japanese restaurant to get a gyoza, and they tend to give it to you in a container of 8, like that's all they give you. But unfortunately, I was going to take the time to make as much for this evening, like 50, which is what this recipe called for. Next, for the Asian pork chop, you take about, depending upon how many servings you're making for how many people. Let me take a seat here. You'll take about you can do anything from a 1/4 inch to inch thick pork tenderloin steaks or pork chops, boneless preferably. And you are going to set them aside, rinse them off, salt them lightly, and set them aside. Let that sit. Next, you're going to create the sauce for it. It's about 2 tablespoons, no, 1 tablespoon of ground ginger. You can use a tablespoon of ground cumin. I like to use the ground mustard, but you can use ground cumin. Put it in the mixture. About a 1/4 cup of the chili paste, as well as a cup of soy sauce. Now for mine, I did a teriyaki one, so I did a cup of the teriyaki marinade sauce, which also helps and adds that to the mixture. You also want a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Now, after allowing this to mix up and everything broken up and the sugar dissolve adequately. You want to let that marinate anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, or you can marinate it from 15 to 20 if you're really in a hurry to cook it. Now, you want to preheat the oven to about 450 after allowing it to marinate, and then have it in there for about anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes for a cook. You want at least till the pork is well done. You want that pork nice and cooked. Again, we don't want any bacteria, we don't want anything coming up in our stomachs. I've seen monsters inside me way too many times. Okay, so that is all for today. As far as the Chinese white rice, it's kind of simple. You're gonna steam some white rice. You put your rice in a pot, equivalent to the amount of water you put in. So if you put 1 cup of rice, you put 2 cups of water, and so on. So, and then you add a little bit of sesame seed oil to add the flavor. Put that on high, let it get to a boiling point with the rice in it. After it gets boiling, you see the starches rising, possibly spilling over. Don't let it spill over, please catch it before it spills over. You see the starches coming up, you turn it down to low, stir to keep it from sticking to the bottom, and allow it to cook on low for about another 10 to 15 minutes until the rice has absorbed the water and it's done. You'll tell there will be holes from where it bubbled and steamed and everything, and it'll be nice and neat, flat across the surface from where everything just kind of laid down flat. Now that is all for today. Next time it'll be more extensive. Everything was already prepared today, the night before. So next video I'm going to have everything out ready. You can see the items from scratch, watch the chop and everything, and we'll get you ready to cook. Thank you for joining me. Later, YouTube.